Okay, so we are going to do an exercise with Prismacolor techniques. And first, what you're supposed to do before you even start this page is you should have done your thumbnail sketches for your mixed medium design and checked that off with me. And then the next step is this Prismacolor technique. And what I need to do is create an awesome sphere for you guys, which I'm trying to, and there's a lot of pressure. Okay, so that's close enough. It is definitely not perfect, but I think it'll work for the job. Now, on yours, you need to have 3 different spheres, shade them, showing your range of values, but I want each sphere to be a different color. Just so you're familiarizing yourself with how to mix different colors of Prismacolor pencils. And then, I'm going to save that to the end actually, but I do want to show you the different color Prismacolor pencils that I'm going to use. My sphere, I wanted it to be red. So when you're creating value and making a flat shape turn into a 3-dimensional sphere, adding, you know, value shades to create that form, I need to have darks, mediums, and lights. So my lights are going to be this pale yellow, probably not the orange, maybe this bright red, and then I've got the actual hue, which is just plain red. And I also have this crimson lake, and I have this terracotta, I think, terracotta, I don't know what that is. And then just like a royal blue, okay? But before I start the sphere, I wanted you guys to practice a couple exercises. In it, it talks about mixing a cool and a warm color together. And so I'm going to mix, let's find a good warm color in my box over here. I've got this nice pink color that's processed red. What a great color. Processed cheese. So I'm just going to take it, even pressure, all the way across. And then I've got this lime green, it's a chartreuse. And I'm hoping my shadows don't really mess up what you guys can see. And then I start mixing them together. When I mix, I kind of like to go in the opposite direction and see what kind of color I get here. It turns into like this reddish orange kind of color. So I'm going to have you do that with a couple different colors so that you can see, again, just different colors, what's out there, what you can use. I do want to take let's see, at least 6 different color combinations, and I want you to label them. I do want to mix, this is kind of a cool combination, I think it's like teal blue. And even pressure, and then I can start putting less and less pressure. And then I can shade, you can't even see me, I'm sorry. So, and then I can shade in the opposite direction. This smooths out my line work so it looks really nice and even. And then I'm going to take the chartreuse again, and I'm putting nice even pressure all the way into the light area of the teal. But then I'm going to start putting less pressure and fading it out. Can you see how I did that? And it makes this really bright, vibrant teal color. And if I want to even fade it out more, I can add a little bit less. Another direction, more layering. You can see how that transitions. And have fun with that. Use complementary colors, warm colors, cool colors, mess around with those. And then I'm going to show you this sphere. So you guys have shaded the sphere, you know, with the graphite pencil. So you go from light to dark areas. It's the same concept, but you're using color, and that can be a little confusing. Anytime I shade with anything on a sphere, I always like to remember where my highlight is. And so you might not be able to see this very well, but I kind of circle where that is so I don't accidentally get dark. And so I'm just going to take my base red color, and I'm going to start shading, and I'm going to move fast. And I suggest you don't move as fast as I am, but for the demo, I like to move a little faster so you guys aren't watching me forever do this. So if you notice, I'm really using a very light layer, because with Prismacolor pencils, they're so awesome, and you can get these rich, beautiful colors. But if you start out pressing really dark like this, it's hard to build these layers and colors up because you've dented the paper, and it can only take so many layers of whatever product you're using. And in this case, it's the Prismacolor pencil, right? So I'm just making back and forth, different direction strokes, so that I can get a nice even layer everywhere. And I'm going to outline it. I could have drawn this in with the Prismacolor pencil instead of graphite. You don't have to use graphite. I just did so I could erase it. And notice how I get to my highlight, I'm just like dusting it, right? And I do want to leave a pure white area. And then I can start really adding a little bit more pressure and building it up. And I can tell there's something under my paper because I'm getting this rough spot. I think it's just on my table. Okay, so now I'm going to go in and I'm going to use this crimson color because I really like this crimson color. It's a little bit darker than the red I just used. And I'm going to outline lightly my sphere. I do want to have a reflected light, and so I don't want to go crazy solid with this dark color, but outlining it just a little bit makes it look a little tidier and less like crayon, messy, scribbly. And that's a mistake I think people do often with Prismacolor pencils. It ends up looking like crayon. Well, then use crayon. But Prismacolor pencils are expensive, and they have these awesome colors, so use them. So again, I'm kind of taking it slow with my pressure so I can start building up these rich colors. I'm going to take this brighter like orange, you know what, and it's so small I don't even know what color this is, but it looks like a red-orange kind of. And I'm going to start building that up over the light areas just a little bit. But I don't want it, because this is kind of an orange red that I'm using. I want to put it everywhere so that I don't just have like around the highlights this orange fill. Okay, now I really want to pump up this darkness. Okay, and I use this terracotta. This adds, it's like a brown, right? A red brown, but it's going to really deepen up my color. And this is just a layer. So don't be freaked out if you're like, oh, I don't like that terracotta color, if you're doing it yourself. And it's still pretty pale. So I even want to go darker. I'm going to add this yellow, and the reason I'm not doing white for the highlight, but more of a yellow cream, is because what does red and white make? Pink. And if I don't want it to be more of a pinky red, and I want it to be more of the orangey red, then I don't want to add white. I'm just going to add yellow. And I am skipping it all the way over the white, but you can't really tell. And that's the idea. And you can do like circular motion so that I'm not getting so many back and forth strokes. So it blends really nice. I've done a lot of layers. And I mean, it's fast. It doesn't take forever, but you gotta be patient. Okay, I wanna be really careful. This is gonna be my reflected light area, not to darken that bad boy up. Now I really, really want to start adding some really deep, dark shadows here. And this is gonna be my core shadow. So I'm gonna take this blue. You can take a complementary color or something that's like a cooler if I have a warmer color and that's darker. So I did blue because that's a cool color and red's a warm color. And I did a dark blue, this royal blue, and I am barely skipping over it, and I'm getting some really rich, nice shadows going on here. I'm going to take my red, and this is my crimson red, and I'm going to go back over my blue. Notice how I'm not scribbling. I'm moving fast, but these are very controlled lines. And I really want to start sharpening up my edge. I'm going to go back to my original red up here. And then I'm going to use the orange over here because this is lighter. I'm getting more towards the highlight. And I don't want to use a super dark red outline on that highlight. And I can still see that pencil mark edge, and I kind of wish I would have used that now. I'm going to go back to my red, go over top of that orange. I'm being so fast, I'm kind of going out of the lines. take some more of that yellow. A lot of different colors I'm using, but it's just going to create this really rich technique. Now, you can use a blending pencil to really bring out the darks, but I am at home and I don't have one, and I forgot to grab one for my classroom. I'm really going to start adding some pressure. Quit being so chicken about my dark areas with this crimson, not reefing on it so that all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I'm out of control, I've got the super dark area, that would make me sad. I'm just putting pressure. I'm really crisscrossing so I get some nice even lines. I'm really going to outline that. And I really want to be careful of this highlight. And I want that to start to pop a little bit. And how do I get the highlight to pop? I make the area around it a little bit darker, right? Okay, and I am achieving almost to what I want. So now I do want to add my cast shadow. The cast shadow will really help this area my shadows actual sphere to pop too. So I'm just going to do this crimson color, a base coat, and I'm going to put a piece of paper underneath because I'm getting the grain of the wood of the tabletop on here and I don't like that. Opposite direction. I'm going to take this blue now. This is a little messy, but you guys will get the idea. Okay, and then I'm going to take the red. I'm going to go opposite direction. Can you see past my hand? And see how all of a sudden my reflected light that was bouncing off the tabletop under here really starts to pop. I forgot about that terracotta color, and I do want to bring that in because it does have like this reddish oranges brown, and that will warm up my cast shadow if I'm looking for the same kind of colors to go on that. Okay, and I think that looks okay. I do want to add opposite direction some line work in here because I know I'm getting a little too liney right there. If I'm like, oh, I went too dark, I can bring back in a white circular, soften that up a little bit. I've added so much yellow and orange that I'm not worried about it getting pink by adding that white in, but we'll see that. Okay, that is it for those techniques. But remember, this is one sphere. I want 3 spheres and 3 different colors. So if I were to do blues, that's a cool color sphere. So to add the shadow, I would probably want to use like this, maybe even this red-orange would really pop that blue and make it darker, and some of this terracotta would too. So good luck, you guys.